3D game, even from the beginning. That should be obvious if you're older than 12.
This server's getting gay as fuck.
If you're younger than 12 though, then let me show you what the first Counter-Strike looked like. Now, I know this might look two-dimensional to you, and this might be a bit hard to believe, but this is in fact 3D. I know, shocking, right? My point is that Counter-Strike has never been in 2D. Or has it? Well, it actually has been. So to those who have never seen this before, because I know there are a lot of you who probably have, let me introduce you to a game called CS2D. This is indeed, as the name suggests, Counter-Strike, but in 2D. And at first glance, it just looks like your average top-down game, but it's not. There's actually quite a bit of stuff in this game. You'd be surprised. First of all, there is a lot of history to look at because this game is surprisingly quite old. The alpha was first released on March 21st, 2004, which is 2 days before Condition Zero released, making this technically the second oldest Counter-Strike. It also means that...
Is it official? No shot, huh?
Anything in the game is based on CS 1.6. It's important to know that this wasn't made by Valve though. They wouldn't make a game like this. This was instead made by Unreal Software, a studio that is kind of obscure because if you try to look them up, you instead get results for Unreal Engine instead. The studio is also quite old considering that their website still looks like this, and if you look closely, they have a copyright that started in 2003.
That looks
Did
so
I mention
sus.
that they use cookies because they're delicious? So since Google can't tell you much about them, you'll have to look at their about page. And according to this page, Unreal Software is actually run by one person named Peter Schaus, who is also the creator of well-known games like Stranded and Stranded 2. There's some AAA quality right here. CS2D started out small but quickly grew around the end of 2004, and unlike modern studios, the game got updated fairly frequently, and it eventually got on Steam in
2017,
according to this. And that's about it. Yep, this isn't some 300-page history book, thankfully. Now just looking at the main menu, it's very simple, much like the menu in 1.6. You might also see some very interesting things here, but I'll get to those later. At the very least, there are the usual options.
Sex mods? Uh-oh. Chat, is this video safe, huh?
Like options, and finding servers or making your own.
Why did he say it like that?
What's unique though is Quick Play, which finds a server for you. Up to this point, Counter-Strike has never done this. You always had to look for servers yourself. Well, until CSGO made matchmaking a thing, but that's a bit different. The other interesting thing is that this is the only CS game that has its own mods menu. Now, Counter-Strike has always freely allowed custom mods, until CSGO, but none of them have had a convenient button for mods in the menu, so this is quite a step up. And even on Unreal Software...
Chat, I kinda like that. A mods button like that. I think in Overwatch, mods are kinda big, right? Because you have this tab, and then you can filter by official mods, or not official mods, but like how many people are in it. It's same in Fortnite, right? You always have like this big browser. The modded community is so big in those games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those custom maps and stuff. In CS, it's so small because you have to navigate through the workshop. It's hard for something to go viral with just you having to fucking download it on the Steam Workshop. Most people don't even know that it exists.
Website, their most recent update to the game mentions improvements to Lua scripting, so modding is literally encouraged. That's rare these days. And just like CSGO, there's a friends list. However, this doesn't show your friends on Steam. This is specifically designed for USGN, which is Unreal Software's own network for servers and friends. Remember, this was mostly made by just one guy. When starting a game yourself, there are some interesting options here in this menu. Most of them are the obvious ones like server name, password, and port, but there are some interesting things to know here, like Fog of War, or Recoil Influences Accuracy, and whatever the hell an Archon password is. There are also different game modes, which is something I've never seen in Counter-Strike before, and a lot of them are basic, except for one called Construction, but I'll get to that later. They did port over almost all the traditional Counter-Strike maps, but they also included a lot of custom ones like DE Eldorado, or DE CS2D, which has an odd layout. And while scrolling through this list, it gets more interesting as you scroll down. Like, oh, they have specific maps for deathmatch. That's cool. Wait, capture the flag? That wasn't a game mode. Same with domination, and assassination, and whatever fight yard means. There's also bot support built in, which 1.6 doesn't have, and you can even change their skill level, which ranges from brain dead to average CSGO player, and all the way up to professional and absolute no life with a minimum of 100,000 hours. Just like
oh my god, Chad. One of the things where I actually like, do you know these moments where in life you feel like, oh my god, I am stupid as fuck. And I had that exact moment, bro. Always, like, I was playing CS, right? And then I tried out Face It for the first time. And when you die, sorry, when someone leaves, there's a bot, right? And on the enemy team were bots, and these bots kept killing me, and I was like, oh my god, this Faceit AI is crazy for bots. Bro, I didn't know that you could take over bots, I swear to god. And I actually played the game for a while. I had no idea.
Like CSGO, am I
I
right?
was like, bro, these Faceit bots are crazy.
This is also kind of neat. When you're typing a
Jesus.
number and you backspace to delete it, the number instead
I
falls
can't
out
be the only one, huh?
and drops all the way to the bottom of the screen. I like that. Anyway, getting into a game is the same as regular Counter-Strike. You pick a team and your player model, and sometimes the player model says other stuff as well for some reason. And it's intuitive as it gets. You have a top-down view, move with the WASD, and you point your mouse to where you want to shoot. Sounds simple. In the settings, you can change your movement to be relative to where your mouse is pointed, but that's really stupid.
Bro, this as a mobile game, this looks like this one popular mobile game that everyone is playing. I don't know the name though. I don't play it, but this top down. Is this on mobile? Oh baby.
The only slightly annoying thing is that if you're trying to shoot somewhere far from
Brawl
around
Stars. There it is.
the corner, it's hard to tell if your shot will be blocked by a wall without moving your eyes to your cursor and back to the middle about 50 times in 1 second, but maybe that's just a skill issue. There's this weird reticle around the player you're controlling for some reason. It's probably there so you can easily tell which person is you, but to me it just feels out of place. Also, the info at the bottom of the screen looks just like 1.6, except way larger. The minimap is really good, and it's actually usable instead of this green mess. Oh, and almost all the sounds are the same. Those are probably the things you'll first notice. What you may not have noticed is that in the settings, there's an experimental option to make everything 3D, even though this is a 2D game. You can change this while playing without having to restart your game, and it surprisingly looks really good. Although it is definitely experimental because there is sometimes flickering around the edges of blocks. Now, there are a lot of minor things that are different in this game compared to 1.6. The buy menu is very similar, except now it includes cool animations and spinning 3D models of supposed 2D objects. Putting on and taking off the silencer is now instant instead of taking 3 seconds. If there are trees, you can kind of hide underneath them, which I think is cool. Just like 1.6, you have to buy ammo separately. However, unlike 1.6, when you buy a gun, you get all the ammo instead of one clip. So this is really only necessary when you end up with no ammo in the previous round. You can also supposedly buy the riot shield, however every time I try to buy it, it says that it's not allowed on this server, despite the fact that I'm on a server I made, and there isn't any setting about it when you try to create a game. So it's probably some DLC you can get for a really low price of $15 trillion. I'm stupid. Disregard everything I said in the last 10 seconds. In 1.6, the elites were 2 pistols, but here it's only 1, which is kinda disappointing because now you can't spam them, which was the only reason they were fun. Sad. The prices for pretty much all the weapons are the same, except for the elites and the shield specifically, for some reason. The elites are actually more expensive.
How many players does this game have? Now I'm wondering, because I see some people saying like, as if they play the game. CS2D Steam stats. Because it's a Steam game, we can see how many people play it. Boom! Oh, jeepers. I mean... More players than Artifact. Where? Actually, probably. Oh my god. This is a Valve game. A Valve game. $1 million company. Creator of CSGO, of Dota. And this is one guy. Jesus. I mean, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. 50 consistent players, sure.
Even though you only get 1, which makes it infinitely less useful, and the shield is less than half the price, making it much more appealing. You might have wondered if scoped weapons are useless now because everyone can see the same distance.
True.
But no, they changed how it works to fit the style. Now when you scope, your view gets restricted to the circle, but you also deal more damage. And if you have a sniper, the second level makes the circle smaller, it makes you deal more damage. That, I think, is the best way scoping could have been implemented here without it being useless. You don't have to scope though, so if you have the op, you can hit perfectly accurate shots while no scoping. So this is probably the perfect game for FaZe. But that's kind of it, everything else is kind of what you'd expect. But as much as I like the novelty of this game,
released like 2004! What the hell? And still 50 people play it. That's crazy, bro. His video probably made a big influx, no? Video release somewhere over here. Yeah. More people came back. Damn, bro. 2004! I forgot to say that at the beginning, I'm stupid.
Not because of how the game was made, but due to the nature of it being 2D. The main problem is that there are a lot of skill-based aspects of Counter-Strike that aren't present. Things like spray patterns and movement and accuracy don't exist here, making this a lot less skill-based. I'm not saying that's a bad thing though, but that does mean that CS2D has a lot less depth than regular Counter-Strike. A lot of the appeal of CS is that the mechanics seem really simple at first, but to get good it takes a lot of practice to improve your skills, especially with compensating for spray patterns or knowing when to move and stop moving to make your shots more accurate. In this game, spray patterns aren't a thing and movement doesn't affect your aim at all. Pretty much all the guns are perfectly accurate. They did try to make it as similar to the original as they could. Like for a lot of guns, mainly the automatic ones, there's some visible spread. You might also remember that one of the settings when you start a server is recoil influences accuracy. The most immediate effect of this is that your crosshair changes into an actual crosshair. So, best option ever. With this option on, your accuracy gets worse and worse the longer you spray, just like regular CS. However, this effect isn't very noticeable and movement still doesn't affect anything. In fact, for some weapons, there is more random spread when the option is turned off than when it's on, so it really doesn't matter that much. The only reason I turn it on is to make your crosshair cooler. Another problem is that there is less of a need to be super aware of your surroundings. You can basically see people through walls, and so can they. So sometimes your encounters become this awkward game of peeking back and forth and seeing who can catch the other first. This isn't a problem specifically with CS2D. Pretty much every 2D game suffers from this. But I honestly don't even think this is a problem. This game is supposed to be more casual, so having super game sense and having to hear people from the other side of a door with $5,000 headphones isn't a requirement. And I think that kind of gameplay suits this game better. But on that note, if you want to make the game much more like regular CS, where having better awareness is important, you can do that. If you go back to the new game menu, you can enable the Fog of War option, and you can enable it in different
like League of Legends or?
configurations, but the hide everything one is the best. Fog of War makes it so you have an actual field of view, so you can only see what your character would be able to see. So you can't see stuff behind you, and you can't see things behind walls. This makes the game much more intense. Now you actually have to look around you with the mouse and listen for where people are. But since the maps are technically made of blocks, when moving around it does look kinda funky, but it's still really cool. With Fog of War though, there is another item you can use, the flare. When you throw it, it illuminates a small circle, or square, that anyone can see, even if it's not in their field of view. But since it's a small radius, I don't see that much of a use for it, though you can still use it. But regardless, I really like Fog of War. Cool name as well. Better than God of War. There are also a few other minor inconveniences. Because it's 2D, there isn't any Z access at all, so some parts of some maps are messed up. Like in Dust 2, the catwalk has been moved because otherwise your player would be invisible underneath it, so it just feels odd now. But for some maps, they kept this map design. In Italy, the bridge is still there, but if you go underneath, it just teleports you to the other side of the bridge. You also can't jump in this game, so in Mid and Dust 2, you can't jump up to Cat, which means you'll have to take an extraordinarily long 3-hour journey across mountains and deserts and valleys to walk all the way around. You might have not noticed.
The rare thing Valve released Artifact. If they would release something like this, CSGO in 2D, for mobile or something, you know, CSGO on mobile, it would be much more successful.
But some of the walls you can shoot through, because they're supposed to be like
CSGO Brawl Stars style
ledges or windows you can shoot from, but their only distinction is a slightly different shade, so it's hard to tell what you can and cannot shoot through. Also, night vision is a thing. However, it is probably the most useless thing in this game because there is no area in this game that's dark enough to where you would actually use night vision. So if you try to use it anywhere else, it just makes it harder to see. Plus, it's $1,250, which is even more expensive than armor, so even less reason to use it. Now, I know I just talked about the supposed problems this game had, but I don't think most of them are that big of a deal. The main one that I pointed out was that this game had less depth than the other Counter-Strikes, but I would argue that it doesn't need all that depth. This game isn't trying to appeal to the hyper-competitive players that CSGO is. This is much more of a casual game, or like a party game that you'd play with your friends. Not something that you would invest a lot of time in. And this game is perfect for that. Since it has less skill-based mechanics, someone who just started the game will still have a chance against someone who's played it for a while, so there's less of a divide between players of different skill. So in that regard, the game appeals to the average player really well. Some of the other smaller complaints I had though still apply. But enough about the downsides, there are some really cool things in this game. I mentioned earlier that there are other game modes you can choose, like Team Deathmatch.
Show me zombies now.
They also have some maps designed for those game modes. All the deathmatch maps, however, each have a different quirk about them. Most of them have similar layouts, but they each have a different unique weapon specific to that map. Like DM Laser has laser guns spread out around the map, which are an insta-kill. DM RPG War has RPGs that you can use. Same with DM Grenades and DM Grenade Launcher. The fun one is DM Snowball, which spawns snowballs around the map. When you play on this map, you
so much passion, bro, from one guy.
restricted to only having a knife and the snowballs. The snowballs don't really deal damage, however, so it's best to just use your knife. Now, despite the name, DM Gorilla does not have gorillas, it's just a normal map. I guess its quirk is that it has these towers you can climb, which feels kind of dumb. If you remember, there are also Capture the Flag and Domination maps. There isn't a Capture the Flag or Domination game mode in the settings, but regardless of the game mode you choose, the maps work the same.
Oh my god, am I the only one? I fucking hate Capture the Flag, no matter which game, bro. No matter which game. Call of Duty, get me into Search and Destroy. I played Urban Terror back in the day, get me into fucking, what was the mode? Just like Last Alive or something. I fucking hate Search and Destroy, bro. It's, sorry, not Search, I hate Capture the Flag. It's so annoying.
In Capture the Flag, you try to take the other team's flag back to yours, and in Domination...
Halo was good, I never played Halo. Halo, I could see it because it's so fast-paced and stuff. You can like fly and shit, right? I can see that.
You have to capture all the flags around the map. You already know this. There's also only one zombie map, which is pretty good, but not much variety. Zombies works the same. One person is a zombie, and you have to infect all the people. The main game mode I want to talk about, though, is Construction. This game mode is probably my favorite one. When you start it up, let's say on the CS2D Fortress map, for example, you might first notice that there are these marble-looking things. You might also notice that you have an item called the wrench. With this wrench, you can right-click and build something on one of the squares around you. Select a square and you'll get a menu of different things you can build with different prices. You can build a barricade, which is a wall you can shoot over, barbed wire, which hurts you if you walk through it, 3 different types of walls, and these walls are destructible with different amounts of durability.
One guy. Bro, am I lazy? A single guy made this whole game, so many game modes, everything. What the fuck?
A gate field, which I'm not really sure.
The craziest stuff that I've accomplished in my life is what? Getting a back-to-back in CSGO is kinda crazy though, no? 1 in 160,000?
What it does, I guess it acts as a gate.
Yeah, never mind. Hey, I'm proud of myself, bro.
You can build a turret, a dispenser which gives you money if you stand around it, a supply station which you can use to get different items for free, and even the entrance and exit for a teleporter. So this basically makes everyone the engineer from Team Fortress 2. And since everything is in blocks, you get a bit of Minecraft action in there. Quite the crossover. These things you can build add different kinds of strategies. Like you can build a blockade of walls to cut off an entire route. You can put turrets across the hallway, making it almost impossible to pass through. You can build a fortress around your flag to make it harder to get to. You can even build supply stations around the map so you can get things for free. A ton of things you can do. But also, you're not limited to the default maps. There are 2 sandbox maps, one tiny and one really big, that are wide open so you can build whatever you want. So this makes the game kinda like Gmod. There's a bit of everything in here. Honestly, if you get some friends, you can do all kinds of stuff with construction. It's really cool. But do you know what's better than that? Constructing your own maps. Yes, remember in the beginning when I showed you that there was a button that said editor in the main menu? Well, as it suggests, it is indeed a fully fledged map editor inside the game. How cool is that? There's tons of blocks you can put in, including these red ones if you want to make a Doom-style map, and tons of entities, just like the hammer editor for real CS, and even for—
Oh my god, this reminds me of something. Chat, should I give you the craziest nostalgia hit for some of you guys that got born before the 2000s? Oh my god, chat, I saw this video on Twitter a couple of days ago, and I had the craziest nostalgia hit ever. Oh my god. Some of you are not ready for this, I'm not even kidding. Some of you are not ready for this. Fuck, what is it called though? Ah, shit. Wait. No, I forgot what it's called. No. I don't want to explain it and let you tell me what it is. I want to hit you immediately with the picture. I'll figure it out in the next minute.
Inside the game. How cool is that? There's tons of blocks you can put in, including these red ones if you want to make a Doom-style map, and tons of entities, just like the hammer editor for real CS. And even for entities, they have triggers, which you can customize a lot, even with Lua scripting, so I can only imagine the kind of stuff you would be able to make. I wouldn't be surprised if someone made a whole story-type game just within a map. I tried to make a small 1v1 type map, which looks super basic, but oh well. It's just really cool that it's built into the game. Obviously, it's still a rather simple editor compared to Hammer, so that's why they're able to include it, but the fact that there even is an editor is amazing. Testing maps is also easy because they don't have to compile, so you don't have to sit there for hours hoping that there's no errors. What's even better is that they set the test map button to F12, so you get a nice screenshot of your map every time you test it. But there was something else I noticed. If you put down an environment item entity, you can change what item it is. And obviously it includes all the weapons and utilities, but the further you scroll down, you see that there are a ton of items that are never mentioned anywhere in the game. Like there's a
Portal gun?
machete, an airstrike, a claw, several weird types of armor, a chainsaw, a portal gun, and a Tesla coil. What? So I had to put down some of those in the map to test them out. They're exactly what you'd expect, including the airstrike and portal gun. And for some reason, the electricity
Bro,
from the
it's
Tesla
so well
coil is
made.
unexpectedly Ultra HD compared to the rest of the game. Also, the Tesla coil is overpowered. Anyway, the map editor is overall really cool, so I tried to make a proper CS map that I named accordingly, and it unintentionally happened
Oha, he built Inferno. Nice.
to have a layout like Dust 2. God damn, that was cool and all until I loaded it up and realized the map is absolutely tiny. So I went back and made the size a lot bigger, and named it accordingly again. So now it looks awful, but honestly, what did you expect? And that's about all there is in this game. Again, it's really simple, and I like that. This is honestly, I would say, my favorite Counter-Strike spin-off. Like, I think it's better than Nexon Studio, and especially this
Ooh, we still have to try that. Chat. This game right here is officially
I think it's better than
licensed.
Nexon
Officially licensed by CSGO. We have to play that, bro. I saw I normally played it as well. This shit on stream, bro. Whew, you already know I'll buy the skins.
Studio, and especially this pile of shit. It for some reason works perfectly despite
What
being
is the second one?
it's better than Nexon Studio, and especially this
CS Neo? What the fuck is this? Is that official as well?
pile of shit. It for some reason works perfectly despite being in a completely different genre. It's really polished, and the one developer that made this did a really good job. And the fact that it's been
Oha.
updated consistently for more than 17 years says quite a lot. It is
Now, what are the odds if I play it on stream that I leak my whole life? AKA IP, fucking credit card information.
very much a change of pace. And remember, this is free, with no dumb cases and skins to buy. Even better. So I would highly suggest you try this out. You might like it more than you expect. But anyways, bye.
I enjoyed that.